Hello, this is Jamie Magritte. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. It's really not a hard card. It's got this nice pop-out bit in it. So let's get started. I'm using this paper. I got one sheet on the back that's in the wrong place. So Tidings of Christmas Designer Series paper. I'm using the Stitch Snowflake dies. Snowman season. I'm using this snowman here, and this stamp here, which I have not taken out, so I'm thinking about it. Let me grab a block and get that out. And I need this one too. Okay. I need a scrap to stamp my snowman on. There's a lot of little pieces, so let me show you these first. These are the snowflakes. There's the scrap that I used to cut them out with. I cut out these 4 snowflakes. There's 4 of them. 3 for the outside and 1 for the inside. That over here. I'm going to start at the bottom so I can... there's my card base. 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. This is soft seafoam. And then I have a 2" by 8.5" strip, which is scored at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and 6 3/8. It's basically folded in half and then folded in half again. Okay, so there's those 2 pieces. I'll show you all the little pieces. I have a 1 by 4 1/4" piece of white. That's for the sentiment on the front. I have a small 1 by 1 5/8" piece of white, which I'm going to flag the tail, and that's for a sentiment on the inside. I have 3 pieces of the Designer Series paper. I'm calling it pattern 3, but I'm using 3 different patterns from the set. And these pieces are 1 3/4 by 3 1/4 inches. I have 4 pieces of the soft seafoam, or whatever color you're using for your you would like to use for your card base, which is 2 by 3 1/2 inches. I have 1 piece of pattern. I'm actually using 4 patterns of the Designer Series paper, which is 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. And a piece that is 1 5/8 by 3 5/8 of white. Okay, then I have 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4, 1 for the front, 1 for the inside. And then I have for the front of the card a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch piece of white. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and mount up some of these pieces so that I can get them put aside so they're not in the way. I'm going to go ahead and use my wet glue for that. Use a glue of your choice, whatever one you're more comfortable using. Come on. Well, this doesn't want to come out. Let me find one that will. Okay. I'd left that one open for a couple. I found it like a couple days later. And there's a 1/4 inch difference between the Designer Series paper and the cardstock, so there's an 1/8 inch border all the way around. If you want to ink your edges or anything, you can do that as well. This is just a basic card design. But you can use whatever Designer Series paper you have, whatever images you want. I like this one with the trees on it. Okay, now this fourth one is going to get this on it. It's the back side of that first piece. Okay, so there's those 4 pieces. I'm going to bring in the pieces that need stamped. Let's start with this piece here and the little sentiment thing and get those out of the way. Okay, so this one, I'm going to do the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I let it snow, ink that up well. I'm going to stamp that in the center. And I have these snowflakes, and I'm going to stamp those above it and below it. Okay, so there's that piece. And this can now get glued onto the front of this one. Centered right on that piece of designer series paper. There we go. Okay. Now in this piece, we're stamping that same sentiment, just about in the center, but a little bit closer to the right hand side. Perfect. Okay. We're going to take that same sentiment. Whoops. Let's stamp it on this little piece. Perfect. Alright. And I'm going to bring in my snips. I'm just going to cut a fishtail in the end of this. Not a very deep one. I'm just going to cut in the center, and I'm going to cut from that corner to the bottom of that snip that I did on both sides, from the outside corner to that bottom of that snip. Makes a perfect little fishtail. Okay, now we're going to bring in a scrap paper, and I've mounted my snowman pieces onto a block so that they will punch out with the Snowman Builder punch. And I did that by making a template that I keep right in with my stamps. I punched it, and then when you take your stamps and you fit them into those spots so they're laying in those holes, and then stick your block on top, they line up perfectly. Okay, so let's go ahead and ink this up and stamp it. Whoops, that one just moved. Okay, well, luckily I have some already done, but I'm just going to stick it back on there. I'm sure it's not in the right spot, but it's gotten a lot of use and it needs cleaned. Alright, and then you're going to line it up. If that hadn't fallen off, you would have seen it. They line right up, and then you can punch them out. But I'm going to color them first. So that's all the stamping. Let's get this ink out of the way. I'm actually going to bring in my scrub and wash these stamps. See, that one some dust on the back of it. That's why it's not staying stuck. Alright. I have ink floating around. I'm going to bring in some blends, but you can use whatever coloring medium you want. And I'm going to start with light balmy blue. And I'm going to use the large end, but you can use whatever end you want. I'm going to go around the left side of him, and where they've already got those shadow marks. And I'm going to just color some blue on there. You could use a light lavender if you wanted. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And I'm going to come in with the color lifter. And I'm going to kind of dot in some of this color lifter to soften out that blue a little bit, model it so that it looks more like snow. Gives it a little bit of texture. It's just another way to do this. There's lots of different ways. Okay, and I'm going to come in with dark Calypso Coral, or you can use Pumpkin Pie, whatever you want, to color his nose. I have light Petal Pink, and I'm going to do cheeks on him. I just thought that was cute. Okay, then I have a light Real Red. I'm going to do just these berries, and I'm basically just dotting the color on. I have a light Granny Apple Green. I'm going to do these little holly leaves and the band on his hat. And I have dark Smoky Slate. I'm going to use a small end because there's small little areas. And again, I'm just tapping the color in because it's such a small area. Okay, then one other color. I have light soft suede, and I'm not going to worry about doing it neatly. I'm just going to go like that and color his hands in. Obviously the one's not going to cut out correctly, but I have some done all previously. Okay, bring in my punch. Now line those up. The ones that I know are going to line up. See? This one obviously had moved, so there we go. Well, I got one here, so we're all set. So we can start putting this together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is bring in my card base. Let's move these off to the side. All these little bits. And I'm going to bring in the piece I want for the inside of my card, the 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece. And I'm going to glue that down right here. I debated this snowflakey looking one. Looked nice too. Then I would have used a different color probably. This color is not in the designer series paper, but I just thought it looked nice. Okay. Now I'm going to take this piece, a 2 by 8 1/2 inch piece, and I'm going to fold it up. And I'm going to center it in the center of the card. Now you can move this all the way over to the edge if you wanted, as far over as you want, but I wanted this piece here to be pretty close to the center. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to figure out where I sort of want it. Bring it in so you can see. I think I want it right there. So I'm going to hold this piece, I'm going to fold this one over without moving it. I'm going to put glue on the back of this, just on that one square there. Fold it back down. Oops, it moved. Okay, now I'm going to fold the whole thing up on itself. Make sure it's square. I'm going to put glue here on this square. And I'm going to close up my card on the top of it. And that gives us our pop-up mechanism. Now it depends on how far out you get it, how wide that pop-up opens. Now I can adhere these. I'm just going to put glue on the back of this. This one I can put glue on the whole thing because it's going to get glued right to the card front, or inside of the card. These ones, you have to be careful. You only want the glue on here. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. You don't want to go all the way to the edges because it doesn't go all the way to the edges. Now at this point you can stagger them. I'll actually do that with this one so you can see the difference. Let's come to the next one. Again, put the glue on this piece, not all the way to the edges. You can put this one higher. Make sure it's straight. Okay. Okay, the last one I want centered in the center like I did the Let It Snow one. So I'll put glue on the whole back. I'll put it like there. Okay. Now the Let It Snow, oh, I flagged the wrong end, but that's alright. We're going to go ahead and put it there. So let's put a little glue on the back of it. I'm going to line up that with the edge then. Okay, I'll bring in one of my snowflakes. Doesn't really matter which one. And I'm going to put some glue on the back of it. And put that down on here. Make sure it doesn't interfere with your fold. Okay, so that's the inside except for my snowman. And let's get that one rid of that one. Alright. And then I'll put some glue on the back of him. It's going to go down here at the bottom. Glue his hat on. And I'm going to take this off a minute. It might be too late. I'm going to take my snips and this bottom edge here where it's white, I'm going to snip that off. I just think it looked better. There we go. Now we're going to tuck these underneath. Let's put a little bit of glue on the back. Lift the edge up and tuck it in. it on top as well, like this. Got a little too much glue, come in with a clean rag and just dab it. Alright, so that's the inside. Let's finish the outside. It's pretty simple. We're going to take our 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of designer series paper. I'm going to center that on the front of this white piece. This is going to get centered on the front of our card. And something's not, I have the wrong piece. That's alright. I'm just going to go ahead and adhere it. It should have been, I had one that was cut down smaller. I must have used it for something else. This should have been 4 1/4 by 5 3/4, and it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/4, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I know I had one cut, but I don't know what I did with it. Okay, then the Let It Snow banner is going to go across the front of it. I didn't put any dimensionals because it's already quite bulky. I don't think this is one you can mail because it's got quite a bit of dimension. Now we're going to bring in our snowflakes. And the original one I just glued them on, but I'm going to go ahead and bring in a dimensional. Put it in the center here. Put that one on with the dimensional. This one's pieces are coming out, so let's go ahead and pop the rest of them out. Which one do I want where? I think I'll do that. I'm going to use a small dimensional on this one, just so you can see the difference. And this one will get glued down. I don't think there's room for a dimensional on the back of it. There you go. It's a card we just made together. And here's the one I did previously. Do you like them staggered? Do you like them straight? I don't know. Let me know. Well, thanks for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper. I almost forgot. I just got my rhinestones in the mail. So let's add a few rhinestones. I'd run out, so I didn't have any to put on the first one. So okay, look at this. It works better. Medium or large? Let's do a large one. Why not? What do you think? Very nice. Let's add a couple more little ones. Oh, I like that. Okay. Well, thank you. Have a great rest of your day.